Hello students, I am Dr. Anurag Verma and I am a professor in zoology in Sri Chaitanya Institute. I am going to start the new topic in zoology, that is human reproduction. We have already completed the previous chapter, which is chemical coordination and integration. And now the next topic is human reproduction. Let us begin now. We all know what is reproduction. Some basic terms I am starting with. We all know that we are viviparous. We are viviparous. What are viviparous animals? Viviparous animals are the animals where the embryonic development occurs inside the body of a parent, usually a mother, inside the body of a mother. Development inside the body, and very important, being nourished by the maternal tissue. And then there is a live birth, eventually leading to live birth. So, we are viviparous. We have internal fertilization and direct development. You are also familiar with the term sexual dimorphism. That is, the male and female sexes, they have different morphology, and by seeing them you can easily identify who is a male and who is a female. And in humans there is sexual reproduction. There is sexual reproduction where two parents are required and there is fertilization or fusion of gametes. Now, you see these terms fertilization and all. Let us now see the sequence of the major reproductive events. Students, please focus, and I want you to please note down in your notebooks, zoology notebooks, major reproductive events. Let's begin. The first event is gametogenesis. What is gametogenesis? See the name, gamete and genesis, that is formation of gametes. My dear student, from your knowledge of class 11th, can you please tell me where these gametes are formed? In which organ gametes are formed? My dear students, gametes are formed in the gonads. It is in the gonads. Gonads are the primary sex organ. If the question comes, what are primary sex organ? Answer is where the gametes are formed. What are gametes as such? Gametes are the male and female haploid germ cells. They are haploid germ cells, and their fusion leads to formation of zygote. Those haploid cells are called gametes. You might have heard about ovum, spermatozoa. These are the gametes or the germ cells. After gametogenesis, there is an event called insemination. What is insemination? Now try to pick up the meaning from the syllables. Insemination, that is transfer of semen inside the female genital tract. After that, there is fertilization. The term means there is fusion of male and female gametes. That is fertilization. After fertilization of the haploid gametes, there is a resultant cell which is a zygote. And my dear students, this zygote is a diploid cell. It is the beginning of the life now, or it is the one-celled embryo. After that, there is a special type of divisions called cleavage. Then followed by implantation. Now, this early embryo gets embedded in the uterus, that is called implantation. After implantation, there is gastrulation. Now, this step means there is formation of 3 germ layers: ectoderm, mesoderm, endoderm. When the germ layers are formed, this is called gastrulation, and after that there is organogenesis. Try to pick the meaning from the term organogenesis. that is formation of the body organs. And eventually it leads to the birth, which is called parturition. After organogenesis, there is parturition. The entire developmental process from fertilization to parturition is known as gestation period. This time period is called gestation period. My dear students, different animals have different gestation periods. Let's begin now. The first part to understand is the male reproductive system, followed by the female reproductive system. Starting with the male reproductive system. We have scrotum, which is a skin pouch, testes and accessory ducts. What are these ducts which are associated with testes? Try to understand them, try to learn these names. These are rete testis, vasa efferentia. Now, vasa is a plural term, efferentia. One is vas efferens and many vasa efferentia. Then, after that, we have highly coiled tube called epididymis, and then we have vasa differentia. We have a pair of ducts called vas deferens, and the plural of vas deferens is vasa differentia, followed by the ducts called ejaculatory duct, and ejaculatory duct opens into what is called the urethra. Urethra opens as urethral meatus. So this is testes and accessory ducts. These are ducts. Then accessory sex glands of male. What are these? Try to learn these names. Number 1, seminal vesicles. They are a pair of seminal vesicle. Then we have prostate, a single prostate. Then we have bulbourethral glands. Again, they are in pair. So these are the accessory glands. And finally, the male copulatory organ, the penis. Male copulatory organ, the penis. Remember, urethra opens as urethral meatus, which is present at the penis. Hope you understand these terms. We have seen all the organs, what are the different parts of male reproductive system. Now, let us begin with the most important one, the primary sex organ in males, testes. Why we call them primary sex organs? Yes, you thought it right, because they form gametes. Primary sex organs are the organs that form gametes. We have a pair of testes lying outside the abdominal cavity. Now, this point has to be understood very clearly. In humans, testes are extra-abdominal. Now, it is made up of two parts. One is extra and one is abdominal, which means that it is outside the abdominal cavity, which means that testes lie outside the abdominal cavity. But where they lie? They lie in a pouch. What that called? That pouch is called scrotum. That pouch of skin and connective tissue is called scrotum. Now, you have ever thought why this unique feature is there in the male mammals? Why the testes are extra-abdominal? Yes, you thought it right. Testes are extra-abdominal because they require lower temperature than the core body temperature. Remember what happens inside them? Gametogenesis. They form male spermatozoa. We can call it spermatogenesis. And normal spermatogenesis require 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius, lower than the core body temperature. 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius lower temperature than the core body temperature. And what is the core body temperature? Come on, think of what is the core body temperature in human beings. Yes, you thought it right. It is 37.5 degree Celsius or 98.6 Fahrenheit. This is the normal core body temperature. And the testes require 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius lower temperature. So, for normal spermatogenesis, the temperature is 35 to 35.5 degree Celsius. The temperature for spermatogenesis is 35 to 35.5 degree Celsius. Now, testes are oval in shape. They are oval, each testes. They are covered by dense covering. Remember, the ideal temperature for spermatogenesis, this will come in the examination. So, please learn that temperature. We have just now seen 2 to 2.5 degree Celsius lower than the core body temperature, and the core body temperature is 37.5 degrees Celsius. So, they are outside the abdominal cavity in this pouch, and this pouch is called scrotum. Now, very important point about the testes is that the testes develop inside the abdominal cavity. In the early embryonic period or the early fetal life, the testes are formed inside the abdominal cavity. Later on, in the 7th month of intrauterine life, they descend down in the scrotum through this canal, and this canal is called inguinal canal. They descend down, they develop inside the abdominal cavity, and then in the 7th month of intrauterine life, they descend down through this canal, and this canal is known as the inguinal canal. Inguinal canal. So, we have a pair of inguinal canals, and the testes are suspended by a cord. Each testis is suspended by a cord which is called spermatic cord. So, the testes lie here and they are suspended by a cord called spermatic cord. So, we have one testis and another testis, and this is the spermatic cord through which it is attached to the abdominal cavity. Now, sometimes what happens that this descent into the scrotum does not occur. They develop normally, but they do not descend down in the scrotum. When the baby is born, the scrotum are empty. The scrotum is empty. That condition of undescended testes is known as crypt or kidism. It is crypt or kidism. Try to understand the word. We will break the term crypt. Crypt means hidden. Crypt means hidden. And my dear students, orchid means testes. In technical language, in the biological term, the testis is called orchid. And ism is an abnormal condition. So what is the term? Cryptorchidism. You say with me, it is cryptorchidism. And what is that? Undescended testes. That condition is called cryptorchidism. So testes are oval in shape. The width of testes is 2 to 3 centimeter, and the length is interestingly 4 to 5 centimeter. Now you can remember the sequence 2, 3, 4, 5. It is easy for you to learn the dimensions of testes. Testes is covered by thick coverings, lie inside the scrotum. Now let us see the other aspects of the testis anatomy. What is anatomy? Anatomy means study of internal structures. Study of internal structures. Now let us do the testicular anatomy. Each testis is covered by 3 coats. 1, 2, 3, 3 coats. Number 1, tunica vaginalis, tunica albuginea, and tunica vasculosa. Number 1, tunica vaginalis. The reason why we are calling it vaginalis because it forms a sleeve. It looks like a sleeve. And sleeve and the vagina means sleeve. So this is actually the peritoneum. It is the peritoneum of testes. Second one, albuginea. The word alba means white, and it's called albuginea because it is made up of white fibrous connective tissues. It provides the main structure. It is the main capsule of the testes. Tunica vasculosa is the innermost, and as the name indicates, it is vascular. The capillaries, the network of capillaries form tunica vasculosa. Each testis is divided into these compartments. Approximately in each testis there are 250 such compartments. My dear student, please learn this number. Sometime direct questions come on this number. Each testis, not total. So these compartments are called testicular lobules. How many? 250. Inside these compartments, what? Now here lies the main thing inside the compartment, and this is a tube known as seminiferous tubule. Seminiferous tubule. Listen once again, seminiferous tubule. This is the main site of spermatogenesis. Cell inside the seminiferous tubule, they divide, they grow and they mature to form the male gametes, the spermatozoa. These are the seminiferous tubules. How many? Approx 1 to 3 in each testis, per testis. 1 to 3 per testis. Seminiferous tubules. These seminiferous tubules ultimately form a network of tubules known as rete testis. Remember the word. These seminiferous tubules, they ultimately open in a, this is a grid-like network, a grid where all these open, and this network is called rete testis. Rete testis is connected to this highly coiled tubule, a highly coiled tubule through these fine ciliated ductules. These are called vasa efferentia. These are around 15 to 20. These are ciliated. Remember, children, these are ciliated. They are called vasa efferentia. Be careful about the word efferentia, this efferent, because this duct is actually taking the gametes out of the testes, and it is ciliated, which means that by now the sperms are non-motile. They will gain the motility later on. So, these are fine ciliated tubule. They are called vasa efferentia, and this is an important question, believe me. This fine and highly coiled tubule is known as epididymis. So, this structure that is formed by highly coiling of the tubule is called epididymis. This complete is epididymis. This complete is epididymis. Now, this is the head part, this is the body part, this is the tail part. Head part of epididymis, body part of epididymis, and later on the caudal part, the tail part. So, accordingly, we have given these terms caput. Caput means head, head of epididymis, then corpus. Corpus means body, corpus means body, and then we have cauda. Cauda means tail, cauda means tail. So, head of epididymis, corpus means main body of epididymis, and tail of epididymis. After that, this tube, which is highly coiled, now further continues as still it is coiled, still it is folded, and this is the duct which is called vas deferens. One per testis. One per testis. Why we call them vasa efferentia? Because there are more than one. Vasa is the plural of vas. This is one, we call it vas deferens. This is the important duct which carries the spermatozoa inside into the abdominal cavity to open ultimately into the ejaculatory duct and then into the urethra to come out of the penis of man. You know, there is a sterilization surgery in which vas deferens of both the testes is cut and tied. It is cut and tied properly. Both the testes and the vas deferens is cut as a sterilization contraceptive, sterilization surgery. This cutting of the vas deferens is called vasectomy. 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 Ectomy means surgical removal, because a small part is taken out and the remaining two parts, they are tied together. Vasectomy, but remember, to be successful, it has to be done in both the vasa deferentia, both the testes. So, please remember this, and the other terms to understand here, I have taken all these terms. To understand the anatomy better, I have compared vasa efferentia and vasa deferentia here. Let us try to understand the main difference. You have seen the diagram and hope you have made the diagram in your notebook. Now, let us compare them. Vasa efferentia, where did we see them? They used to connect, they connect rete testes, they connect rete testes to epididymis. They connect rete testes to epididymis, and vasa deferentia, they arise from cauda epididymis to ejaculatory duct. Ejaculatory duct, very, very important. So, vas deferens open into ejaculatory duct finally. They arise from cauda epididymis. We have seen the diagram, and they open into ejaculatory duct, and vasa efferentia, also called efferent ductule, they arise from rete testes and they are carried to the caput epididymis. They are carried to the caput epididymis. Another point, point number 2. Now, vasa efferentia are 15 to 20 in number, whereas we have vasa differentia 2 in number, 1 in each testis. So, we have 1 per testis. 1 per testis, so 2 total. Then what else? Number 3. Vasa efferentia are fine ductules and they are lined by ciliated epithelium. They are lined by ciliated epithelium. Whereas in vasa differentia, at places you may have stereocilia. Students, you remember in the first year, in the chapter structural organization, in the starting of structural organization, the epithelial tissue, there you have seen stereocilia, kinocilia, the difference between stereocilia, kinocilia. So, stereocilia are present in the epididymis and vasa differentia in the male reproductive system. So, these are the main differences of vasa efferentia and vasa differentia. My dear students, now let us address one question. Is chilling required for sperm production? Now, we have been hearing that the sperm require lower body temperature, the testes require lower body temperature, therefore, they are extra-abdominal. Remember, whenever we say lower, 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius lower, now this is always than the core body temperature. In very low temperature condition, it is also not good for spermatogenesis. And our body has an inbuilt mechanism to handle the low temperature. Remember, the scrotum wall has a smooth muscle by the name dartos. It is a smooth muscle present in the wall of the scrotum. At low temperature, dartos muscle contract, lifting the testes upwards somewhat towards the abdominal cavity, and the testes gain temperature from the abdominal cavity and prevent the chilling of spermatozoa. So, remember that even very low temperature is dangerous for spermatogenesis and very high temperature is also dangerous for spermatogenesis. And don't forget, the ideal temperature for spermatogenesis is 35 to 35.5 degree Celsius, ideal temperature for spermatogenesis. My dear students, so we have learned so far, let us consolidate all those points. Now we were doing human reproduction. In human reproduction, we started with some basic terms. After understanding those basic terminology, then we switch over to the sequence of events in reproductive system. Sequence of events during reproduction. Here we have seen what are the prenatal events. Now I just come to this term which is called prenatal. Remember, my dear children, natal means birth, and pre means before. So, all the developmental processes that occur before birth are called prenatal. So, we have seen the sequence of events. After that, we started with the male reproductive system. And in that system, we have started with the main organs that makes the male reproductive system. And in those organs, we have started the detailed anatomy of testes. Finally, we have compared the vasa efferentia and vasa differentia. And a very interesting and important question is chilling good for spermatogenesis? So here I am signing off. I am Dr. Anurag Verma, and we will meet in the next class. Goodbye.